Okay, so here we have part 2 of making Finn the human in Blender. If you haven't seen part 1, check the description below. And yeah, let's get into it. Hope you guys enjoy. So first of all, let's start here with his legs. So we're going to go into a front orthographic view. Then we're going to go Shift A. We're going to go to our mesh options and add in a cylinder. This cylinder in the scene, we're going to go G and then Z, bring it down to the bottom here. Then we're going to go S to scale. Now let's give this guy that same pants material. Go to Object and also enable Shade Smooth. We're then going to give this guy a mirror modifier. Click on a little eyedropper and select the body here. Then go G, X and move it over to the right. And then G and just move it up in here a little bit. So I'm going to scale mine as well. So you can see this is the bottom of the legs here. Tab into edit mode if this guy selected. Shift Alt, click on this bottom loop of vertices. Then we're going to move it to turn off proportional editing. We're going to move it over to the side a little bit, then R to rotate it. And then we're going to go E to extrude it down. It's got a little bit of a bend out like this. And then R to rotate it again like this. So just creating this slightly coming down, but at a little bit of a bend. So it's not quite perfectly flat. So once we've done that, we're going to go S to scale it a little bit. Then E to extrude, S to scale, and then E to extrude, and we're going to extrude it up, X, and we're going to delete those faces. Now let's give this guy a mirror modifier. We also want to come to the top here, Shift Alt, click on this loop of vertices here, X, and delete the faces there. So this is no face at the top. I'm going to come in here, Control R, double click, double G, add in a loop here, and that's just going to smooth that out. So now we have the two parts of the pants down here at the bottom. And now we're going to create the legs inside of there. So a simple way to do that is just to come back here into edit mode, Shift Alt, select this loop of vertices at the top here, Shift D to duplicate it, and then go to your front orthographic view, and then go E, Z, and extrude it down. We're going to extrude this down, keep going to about here. Maybe that's a little bit too long, maybe just like that. Then hit Control L, that's just going to select all of that. Go to your Materials tab, hit the little plus, go New. Okay, sorry, don't have to do that, just hit the little plus, and then just give it that blush material and a sign. So the one we use for the face. And now what we're going to do is come in here, Control R, add in a loop, double click. Then we're going to go G and just move it over to the side a bit to bend the leg. Grab this one here, rotate it a little bit. Just creating kind of like this little bit of a bend in here that he has. So you can see it right there. And then we're going to create his shoes. So back in edit mode, what we're going to do, okay, in fact, I think we'll do this in object mode. So go back into object mode, then go Shift A, add in a torus, G, just bring it down here, and then S to scale it. And bring it down here to the bottom of the leg. Tab into edit mode, and then we're going to go Alt S and just scale that out. Alt S, just to thicken it a bit. And let's just give this guy a mirror modifier as well. And let's just click on the little eyedropper and select the body here. And we're going to go to Object and just enable Shade Smooth on this as well. So now we have the bottom part of the shoes. Now we just have to create the foot in here. So the foot is going to simply be, let's just select the leg here. And let's just go Shift and Alt, click on this bottom loop of vertices on the leg. Then we're going to go Shift D to duplicate it, and then E, Z to extrude it down to about here. And then we're going to go Control F, and we're going to go Grid Fill. That's going to fill that up for us. And then we're going to come to the front, and we're going to go S, Z, and just flatten those out. So SZ0, Control. Then we'd come over here, Control R, and we're going to roll in some cuts, about this many. Go to your face select, and then go B and box select these faces here at the front. Just like that, and we're going to go E and then E, Y, and extrude it on the Y. E, Y, extrude it a little bit more to about there. Then we're going to go Control plus and then enable proportional editing. Then we're going to go S, X, and scale that out in the X. But we're going to roll our middle mouse wheel. So it's not creating too much of an effect on the leg. So we want to make that proportional fall off a little bit smaller. Just something like that. And then we're going to come in here, Control R, add in some loop cuts. Then we're going to select just an edge here at the top and an edge here. Go to your right orthographic view, then go G, bring that up a little bit. We're using proportional editing still. And then just select all of this over here and then go to the smooth tool and just smooth that out a little bit. And that's how we create the foot here. So I know it looks a little bit confusing, but if all of this foot geometry selected, just go Control L. That's just going to select all of this loose geometry connected to the foot. Go to your materials tab, click on the little plus, go new and assign. Let's just call this shoe. Let's go down to the viewport display and make it black. And with all of that selected, let's just smooth it out a little bit more. Just like that. Tab out of edit mode, go to object mode and enable shade smooth. So now we have the foot there, and we can grab these rings here and adjust them as we need to, maybe scale them down a bit. And that's how you create his shoes. So that's looking really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit A to select everything, and then G, Z, and move him up so he's sitting on that red axis line over here. So he's sitting right on the floor. And there we have his legs. So the legs were a little bit tricky, and if you're new to modeling, maybe you found the whole process of making the feet a little bit tricky, but this is more of an intermediate level tutorial. So what we're going to do now is get in here and make his arms. Okay, so the arms are pretty straightforward as well. So to save us a bit of time, we're going to grab the leg here and go Shift D to duplicate it, and we're going to bring it up here. And then we're just going to go R, and we're going to rotate it like this. Okay, in fact, hit the N key, then go to your items here. And with this guy still selected, just come over here and make this -90 and hit enter. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to go G and move it in here. Tab into edit mode, and let's just go to our vertex select option. B to box select, and let's just select all of these guys here, and then G, move it down a bit, and then Control minus or Command minus just to shrink the selection, and then G, move this down a bit. Just trying to straighten this one out here a little bit. And then we can select a vertex on this shoe, hit Control L, it's just going to select all the geometry, hit X and then delete those vertices. And then we can just select this loop of vertices here, X, and we want to go dissolve vertices. Oops, dissolve edges, there you go. And we can grab this guy here and we can go SX0 and hit enter, and that's just going to straighten that out. So we can see we have his arms. So let's just go G, X and drag this one out a little bit to about the length that is appropriate. Now at this moment I'm looking here at my reference images, and his arms seem quite long for a character. They're almost coming down to where his pants end down here. Like if we were to grab this, it should come down to about there. So I'm going to go to here, and I think his arms are a little bit skinnier than this. So I'm just going to tab into edit mode, hit A to select everything, and then I'm going to go Alt S and just I could just S to scale the whole thing. Just hit S and then move it in a bit. Then grab these end vertices and just move them out a bit. Just a little bit like that. I think it looks a bit better. And also we just need to grab his shirt here. Grab this arm, go to the materials tab, and the one that's currently pants, just click on it. And let's just make that his shirt. So it blends in with his shirt up here. And his arms, they sit kind of where I've got them right now, like kind of high up, but from the side, if we hit R3 on a number pad, they need to go a little bit back, almost like that. That's kind of where they sit. So this is just kind of like the reference that I'm looking at. I'm looking at kind of like a model sheet. But those are his arms. So we can now get into making probably the more trickier part, which is going to be his hands and his fingers. So we can get into that. Okay, so first of all, we're going to grab the arm here, go into edit mode. And with all these vertices on the end selected, we're going to go S, Z, and scale it down to the Z a little bit. And then we're going to go G, Z, and just move it up a little bit, like that. So we're just kind of creating this flattening of the arm as it goes up. And we're going to come in here, Control R, add in another loop cut, double click, double G, slide it up. And this one, let's enable proportional editing. We're just going to select this vertex at the bottom. And with proportional editing enabled, we're going to go G, Z, and just bring that down a bit. And like I said, remember, you want to roll your middle mouse wheel to increase or decrease the fall off. So we're just going to go with something like that. Then when I come here, Control R, double click, double G, slide in another one a little bit closer. Then disable proportional editing. Now the next bit is going to seem tricky, but I just need you guys to follow along. So what we're going to do, actually we might have to enable proportional editing again. So just enable it, select this vertex at the top, vertex, G, Z, bring it down, just to flatten that up a little bit at the top, and do the same thing with this one at the bottom. So just like that kind of shape, almost like what we did with the mouth, if you guys can remember. And then just disable proportional editing. We're going to go Shift, Alt, and just click on here to loop select these vertices. Control F or Command F, and we're going to go Grid Fill. Then I come here to the Grid Fill settings, and yours might be a little bit different, so just try and mess around with this offset till they're nice and straight. So in my case, you can see I have a span of 6 and an offset of 4, and now you can see these are straight here. Also, just go to your materials, and if you have like the wrong material in here, just assign that blush, so it's all the same color. And now what we're going to do is go to our face select, and go into your right orthographic view by hitting 3 on your number pad. We're going to hit C to get the C select tool, and you can roll your middle mouse wheel as well to increase or decrease the size. And then we're going to select these ones in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these guys here in the middle, and we're going to go Shift, Alt, and S, and we're going to just round that out a little bit. Then we're going to go E to extrude it, like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the right orthographic view again, and hit the C select tool, and then select another 8, like that. Alt, Shift, Alt, and S, and just round that out a bit, and then just extrude it. And one more time, let's do the same thing over on this side. And you're noticing I'm leaving a gap or a row of faces in between. So if we quickly go to the modifiers, I'm just going to quickly disable the subdivision surface modifier so you guys can see. So I'm not selecting it right next to this one. So I'm leaving a row of faces in between before I select my 8 faces, like that. Shift, Alt, and S, round that out as well, and then E to extrude it out. Right, and now it looks like a mess, but we're getting there. So we're going to go Control R over here, double click, double G to slide in another loop. Control R, double click, double G, slide in another one. And now we're going to go Control plus or Command plus, and we're going to keep going. In fact, just select actually just all of these vertices towards the end. So go to Vertex Select, just select all of these guys here. And then we're going to go to our Smooth tool, and we're just going to smooth them out. So smooth them out like that. Okay. And now what we're going to do is select a vertex in the middle there of that guy. Go Control plus to grow the selection. Okay, maybe we just have to go to Face Select, hit the C tool, and just C select these guys here, like that. And then we're going to go to our proportional editing, and we're just going to go S to scale it up, but we're going to roll it smaller so it's not as much fall off. And then we're going to go E to extrude it out to here, like that. And then we're going to do the same thing with this guy. Select these 8 faces here, and just scale them up a little bit with the proportional editing. And then you go E to extrude them out, about the same length. And let's just do the same thing with this guy here. So very simple, it's not as hard as it looks. You select those, scale them up a bit. We have proportional editing enabled. And then E just to extrude it out, about the same length. Then we're going to come over here, Control R, roll in 3 loop cuts. Control R, roll in 3 loop cuts. Control R, and roll in 3 loop cuts. And you can see where we're coming with this, right? It's getting there. So select all of these guys again, and just with the Smooth tool selected, just smooth it out a little bit. Okay, so we're trying to keep this as simple as possible. And you can see we have these 3 fingers that are roughly the same. It wasn't too hard to make. So let's quickly come in here and make the thumb. So we're going to go Control R over here, double click. Go to our Vertex Select option, and we still have proportional editing enabled. We're going to select this vertice over here, Vertex. I know there's some people who get quite triggered about that. We're going to grab this one here, bring it out a little bit, like that. Go to our Face Select, and then we're going to come over here and select this face. In fact, get the C Select tool and just go 1, 2, 3, 4 faces like that. And then we're going to go E to extrude it out. Control R to add another loop over here. Control plus twice with that loop selected just to grow that selection. And we're going to just smooth that out as well, just like that. go back to face select option and just select these faces we created on the end, these 8 faces now. And then we're going to go S double Z or S double X. Okay, let's try S double Y. So S double Y, just scale it along there. And then go to top orthographic view and then go R, just rotate it out. And then we're going to go E and extrude this guy to here, and then G, move it in a bit, and then R to rotate it. And then we're going to come over here, Control R, add in another loop or 2. Control plus to grow that selection, and then once again using the smooth tool, we're smoothing out that thumb like that. So you can see here we have our hand coming together, our cartoony stylized hand. And if we go to our front view, that's what it looks like there. So I'm still keeping an eye on these reference images. I think what we might have to do is just also grab this vertex at the bottom here with proportional editing enabled, just move that up a little bit, just flatten this hand out. I think it's still a little bit too rounded at the bottom. So just creating a bit of a flatter hand here. And you guys can spend as much time as you want. But that is the basic way of making this kind of hand really quickly. And then obviously we can come over here, Control R, and roll in some more geometry, just so the arm can actually be deformed if we wanted to. And do the same thing here, Control R, roll in some more geometry, Control R, roll in some more loops here as well. And do the same thing with the leg. So just quickly Control R, and roll in some loops, Control R, roll in some loops, double click. I mean, super simple. Control R, roll in some loops, double click. Just so there is some deformable geometry if we need it, right? Because we can't have like no faces in here or no loops, otherwise the arm won't be able to bend. So now I think that is looking a lot better. Still needs a little bit of smoothing here, maybe like that. Just like I said, mess around with it. I always get into this thing when I'm doing tutorials where I start getting too finicky with it, and then the tutorial just gets too long. So just roughly like what I've done, mess around with it as much as you guys need to. But his hands aren't much bigger than that. That's about what I'm seeing with the references. So with that done, I think we have Finn the human finished. Maybe I should add the backpack. So maybe that will be the next part, is doing the backpack.